I want to talk about Men in Black just a little bit more because we talked about Flushing Park and how great that World's Fair thing is, and also just the idea of like the iconic scene in Men in Black, which I feel like sells the whole movie. The the observation towers being UFOs and the Unisphere right there. I feel like the all three of these films are like really great films in their own way, and I think the art direction in Men in Black is like amazing, like so strong that now we're almost 25 years away from that film being made, if you can believe it, and it just feels so consistent and relevant. And like the CGI is separate from the art direction, but like the CGI still holds up.
CGI was good.
And then like all of their guns, right? They're these like silver futuristic, and that's like the World's Fair aesthetic. Like whoever put that together, like it was like genius. Where it's like, yeah, like we're gonna give them these silver guns and put them in the Age of Tomorrow section of New York City, and it's gonna feel like this one coherent thing, And they're all gonna be wearing these black suits that look like Mad Men, It's
I think that makes the gun stand out more.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's kind of like the whole everything's black, so you focus on the gun.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. But even like having Will Smith like transition from like also like his outfits that he's wearing in the beginning when he's like part of NYPD, which is also like not what NYPD wears. Like he like
no, he does not.
Like there's no way that like a police officer would ever be able
they were
to
his
wear
Fresh Prince outfits.
Yeah,
it was Big Willie style, just like
orange and
right,
like
right.
Yeah.
But I kind of also love that it told you like who he like it gave you a whole story about who he was like before he even told you who he was like in the acting or in the script.
Yeah.
And then they were able to put him in that like nondescript outfit, which made like the guns stand out and made everything else stand out. But you already like, you knew who he was. Like, if he had just shown up in that outfit, I feel like it would have lost so much.
Well, I was waiting, Jesse, she said she hadn't seen the movie before. And I was waiting for the line where he goes, the difference between me and you is I make this look good.
Yeah.
And she laughed. I mean, it's like that's the whole movie, in some ways. It's just like, this is the vehicle for Will Smith, who has this like amazing star power. And but also like he's so capable of being humiliated too. Which like Tom Cruise is not going to deliver an alien baby and be thrown around by the mom, like it's just not within his toolkit. But Will Smith can, go chase down an alien with a gun, as well as Tom Cruise can,
And with the little tiny...
That little tiny guy with the kickback is so funny.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing about that movie that's really impressive too, is there's so many things that are like suspension of disbelief, and like he didn't train, like nobody showed him how to use that gun, or like Tommy Lee Jones wants to get his mind erased. It's been like, dude, it's been 2 days. You want to wait maybe like a month until you leave this guy in charge? But like, because the movie is so strong, you don't care about that sort of stuff. And like that, not all movies can do that. Some movies need more logic, and then if like they deviate from the idea of like logic at all, it falls apart.
Right.
But for this, like, it's just pure popcorn movie, and you don't care that like none of this logically makes sense. You're just along for the ride. And I mean that can be hard to make for a movie. Hard to get to that place.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like there's part of it that you're like, when he said like erase my memory, I'm like, oh no. But I was more upset because they had become such good friends, and I was like sad that they weren't going to get to be friends anymore. Right. More than I was like concerned. I was like, Will Smith, like he'll be fine, like he's got this.
Yeah.
But I like wanted him to keep his friend.
Yeah.
And I think the movie does a good job setting that expectation from the beginning, so you don't have this crazy transition from like a very logical like beginning to like this crazy like out of world. Like I think they do have that in the beginning, set that expectation. I think Will Smith embodies that because he's like he's out there already. Like you're saying, like
Yeah.
a cop doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he's walking around and he's doing this stuff like a cop, I was like, I think you already know. You're like, all right, some wacky stuff's gonna go down here because
Right.
you know the cop looks like this.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be some straight narrow
Yeah.
person that's doing yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because he like fits outside the mold, you also allow like, well, they didn't have to train him on that gun because
He's Will
he's
Smith.
got it. Like he's
got it.
fine. He's gonna
Right.
figure it out.
Right. Do you remember growing up in New York City? I mean, that we're the same age if we're not,
Yep,
you know.
Yep, we are.
The like it was 13 when that movie came out, 97, 12, 13. Do you remember, and like, you're blocks away from the climactic scene of that movie. Do you remember being excited, or were you kind of like, because you grew up in New York City, it was like, oh yeah, another movie filmed in New York? Or like, do you remember like having any thoughts about like how that made you feel?
Actually, I think after that movie, I walked by that area and I was like, was this really a UFO?
Totally.
Like was this because I didn't really know about the World Fair. Like I said in the beginning, I was like, we weren't around for that.
Yeah.
So like, I actually thought that was more famous for Men in Black and not the
Yeah,
World Fair.
yeah.
And then I was like looking at it and I was like, can this fly off the hinges? Like, did it fly off? And it come, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think at that time too, I didn't understand a lot of the filmmaking industry and CGI and all that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, whoa, like they really could lift that off and like it could come and they could come back and. Right, but once I learned it, I was like, okay, no, that was all CGI. They're not
Right.
blowing that up, and they're not like bringing that back or anything.
They didn't
Yeah.
like put the Unisphere back together after exploding it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think after watching it at all, were you also thinking like maybe there are a lot of aliens in Manhattan? Like, did you have that thought at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I was around it was around where I was, more high school. So yeah, I was like, okay, fine. It's probably not going to be aliens around. But the fact that they made it a plausible story, it's like sometimes I look at people, I'm like, like this person might be an alien. But
Right.
like, I think it crosses my mind.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but realistically, right, it's kind of like the whole Santa Claus thing. I was like, around that age, I was like, all right, Santa Claus is not buying my presents. It's mom and dad.
It's Tommy Lee Jones. He comes every year, then flashes us, and there's presents. I don't know.